Indian exports have hit a record high of $787 billion. India is slowly transforming itself into an economic superpower, with $787 billion worth of services and merchandise exports over the last year, compared to $776 billion a year ago. What's even more impressive is that Indian exports rose in 115 countries around the world out of 235 destinations. This highlights a growing trust and dependence on quality of Indian exports worldwide. But what is India's rank among the world's top exporting nations? And which countries are importing more Indian products, thus boosting Indian exports? The topmost destination for India's exports was the UAE, with Indian exports to United Arab Emirates witnessing a 12.7% rise to reach $35 billion. Singapore was the second most valuable destination for Indian products, with exports surging 20% to reach $14.4 billion. UK's imports of Indian products rose 13% to reach $13 billion. And even China is importing more Indian goods and services, with India's exports to Beijing increasing 8.7% to reach $16.7 billion. This despite heightened tensions with China across the LAC. Now, one of China's goals is to keep Indian military on alert, thus using up vital resources and slowing India's growth. That Chinese plan seems to be failing. Russia and Iraq are the other two countries where Indian exports have witnessed a substantial increase. While India's exports have improved marginally to reach a record high, the country has also managed to significantly decrease imports to $853.8 billion from $898 billion a year ago. Now, this has had a profound impact on India's trade deficit, which has now come down to $75 billion compared to $121 billion a year ago in 2022-23. This is helping India move closer to its goal of becoming a net exporter, as well as become the world's third biggest economy before 2030. The key driver in India's continued growth has been the services export industry, which witnessed an impressive 4.4% growth over the last 1 year. These include sectors like telecom, information, computers, travel and transport. Services sector exports from India grew from $325 billion to $341.1 billion over the past 1 year. Sectors like higher education, legal, logistics, accounting and auditing have also shown good potential growth. On the other hand, merchandise exports from India have fallen marginally over the last financial year. The figures dropped from $451 billion in 2022-23 to $437 billion in 2023-24. However, we must remember that markets keep fluctuating, and the start of new financial year brought good news for India's merchandise exports as well, with this segment rising 1% in April 2024 compared to a year ago. So this indicates that India's economic surge is set to continue. So what's exactly driving India's export growth story? According to reports and experts, the key driver has been the government's Production-Linked Incentive Scheme, or PLIs, whose goal is to make Indian services and merchandise competitive in the global market and make India an irreplaceable link in the global supply chain. The fallout would be the country's decreased dependence on foreign imports to meet demands of India's massive domestic market. We asked you earlier, where does India lie in the list of top exporting nations? And the answer is, India is in the top 10. In fact, India is in the 10th place. India is the world's 10th largest exporting nation, ahead of the likes of Italy, Canada, Russia, Switzerland and Mexico. China remains the world's top exporter, closely followed by the United States of America, which is in the second spot. Germany, the world's third biggest economy, is in the third spot. However, there are several smaller nations ahead of India in the top 10 list, which shows there is huge potential for further growth. While UK and France are in the 4th and 5th position, Netherlands is in 6th spot, certainly punching above its weight. The world's 4th largest economy, Japan, occupies the 7th spot in the list, with the nation city of Singapore in 8th position, not much higher than India. South Korea is just above India in 9th spot in the top 10 rankings. India has emerged as a beacon of hope in the post-COVID pandemic world. The country maintains its stature as the world's fastest growing large economy, and booming exports will only accelerate India's rise even further. New Delhi has also launched and initiated several key projects over the years to make India a central pillar in the global supply chain. This includes the IMEC, or the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, which has been certainly put on the back burner for now due to the ongoing war in Israel and Gaza, as well as the North-South Transport Corridor, which aims to connect Central Asia to the Indian markets, and then further on to Europe and Russia. Have your say. Can India continue its rise and become a top 5 exporting nation within the next decade? Leave a comment below and hit the like button, and remember to subscribe to Inconnect News.